Okay, hey guys, welcome to video 2. We're going to do 2 examples and then move on to the last example so you can get started with your homework. These are a little different. They're just asking us different questions or they want us to fill in the blanks for these statements, and they're a little different, okay? So we're going to keep going with this. So C says 5.2 or 5 2/10 divided by 1/10 is equal to, well, I'm going to keep my first factor and change it so it has a fraction divisor. So, well, it's divided by 1/10, so I'm going to change that into a fraction divisor. And that is going to equal, where I'm going to keep 5.2, change, and flip. So 5 2/10 times 10 is going to be 52, okay? 52, because in the place value, if you remember, we moved this. Every time it was divided, we would move it to the right, okay? When we're adding a 0. So move it to the right, then we get 52. So there are blank tenths in 5 wholes. Well, we did that in the last example. There are blank tenths in 5 wholes. There are 50 tenths in 5 wholes. Because we need, if it was saying how many tens do we need to make 50, we would say we need 5. But this time we need tenths, so they're smaller, so we need 50, okay? There are blank tenths in 2/10. So it's not trying to trick you. Make sure you're reading if it says tenths or wholes. In 2/10, there's 2/10, right? So they're trying to trick you there. It's easier than they're trying to make it, right? So there are 2/10 and 2/10. Simple as that. Then there are blank tenths in 5.2, or there are blank tenths in 5 2/10. Well, we just solved that, right? We said 5.2 divided by 1/10 is, so how many tenths are in 5.2 or 5 2/10? There are 52, okay? So they broke it up into 3 different statements here. All right, let's move on to the next one. So 8.7 divided by, or 8 7/10 divided by 1/10. So I'm going to keep this first number and make a fraction divisor, which would be 1/10 still. And that's why I want you to stick around for the next video, because it's not going to be 1/10. Okay, so 8 7/10 divided by 1/10. Well, if I flip it, it'll be 8 7/10 times 10, and we know that we'll just move it over to the right, move our decimal over to the right. And just like this one, we'll get a whole number that is 87, okay? So now again, they split it up into 3 different statements. We have there are blank tenths in 8 wholes, okay? So there are 80 tenths in 8 wholes. And then there are blank tenths in 7/10. Well, not trying to trick you, there are 7/10, okay? So now that you're seeing the pattern here, it probably is getting a little easier. That's why I really want you guys to stick with these videos so you can see, well, it makes sense because they're splitting these up, okay, into the number to show you. There are 80 tenths in 8 wholes, 7/10 in 7/10, and then there are blank tenths in 8 7/10. There are 87 tenths and 8.7, or 8 7/10. Okay? So I'm going to do the next 2 in the next video, and I'll be super quick, and your riddle is somewhere in there, so you got to watch the 3rd video.